Why are you so expensive?
Everybody wants to be a builder, but nobody's a developers. We are developers. You have to understand the difference. Everything else is trading. If you take a building in Pali Hill and place the same building in Dahisar without the location, the building practically looks the same sometimes. When the market is good, everything sells. When the market is bad, nothing sells.
Then in your view, 15 to 20% should be the sort of price cut we can see in
of course, it could be more also.
One of your peer developers told me, okay, he's somewhat like Aamir Khan. एक building बनाता है, फिर 5 साल के लिए सो जाता है.
Every project with the word luxury is everything above the poverty line. I won't be surprised if sea-facing properties will touch between 2.5 lakh rupees a square foot in the next 3 years. Bandra is a पीतल का लोटा. Every broker has convinced every developer that Bandra में sale होता है तो सबसे fast Bandra में होता है, which is a myth.
Just like how I say Bandra has only vibe, you're saying Malabar Hill has only aura.
Had only aura. There was nothing else. What do you overlook? It's done. Everybody's making fun of your pink building. I'm like, I'm the one with the last laugh because I got the highest price.
Pali Khan and Kareena Kapoor come out of their buildings. Your name is hanging out on the side. Are they easy customers?
Bollywood just like any other customer, Shah. I would be very happy if the government actually banned under construction sales. Do you go and negotiate when you buy a Range Rover? Do you negotiate with your doctor when you pay him fees?
So Satguru negotiates with buyers?
You need to come as a buyer for that.
In today's episode of The Real Deal, I'll be talking to India's most expensive developer that you've probably never heard of. It's a player called as Satguru Builders who operates in the high-profile market of Bandra in Mumbai. To talk to us about the company, the journey, as well as trends, I'm joined by the developer himself, Sharan. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Vishal, for the invitation.
So Sharan, I called you the most expensive developer of India that most people don't know of. Why are you so expensive?
Vishal, in the last 4 years, you've quoted me 3 times and all you complain about is pricing. But, I think you need to come and see why we are so expensive. Unless you don't see it, you will not know.
Okay, what will I see? I've seen many of your buildings in Bandra and Khar and Santa Cruz. What is it that makes Satguru get this obscene premium that is there, that is almost disproportionate to all neighboring buildings? Okay,
I'm gonna quote you and your tweet. If a builder delivers on time, delivers as promised, and gives it to you with all statutory permissions, everything in place, what is wrong if I charge a premium?
Don't the others do that according to you? Many of the others will say I do the same.
Everybody wants to be a builder, but nobody's a developers. We are developers. You have to understand the difference. If you take a building in Pali Hill and place the same building in Dahisar without the location, the building practically looks the same sometimes. What are you paying for? And you put my building right next to that. And you'll know the difference and you'll know why you're paying that extra. In terms of everything.
So it is product?
Purely product. 90% plus 95% of our people in our business are just trying to play on scarcity of a certain location. Like what you call development is what Ashish did in Devnar, right? Back in the day, he sold Devnar as Chembur at Chembur prices, and Devnar was a dump. That is what you call doing development. Lodha doing New Cuff Parade, a 25,000 rupee location, selling at 50,000 rupees. That is what you call development. And Oberoi doing Goregaon and taking the price, or a Borivali, and taking again a 25,000 rupee location to 60,000 rupees. That is development. Everything else is trading. Okay. You're a bona fide trader.
So would you call yourself?
If we can achieve Pali Hill pricing on Turner Road, we're doing something right.
Okay. So, you said you gave the reference to Turner Road pricing being equal to the Pali Hill pricing, your product, your recent project that you've done, Satguru Rendezvous. Okay. Regarding that, you've got prices of 1 lakh per square feet plus, correct? For some of the units at least.
1,08,000 last registered deal to be precise.
Okay, you've got that pricing. Why do you think others can't get that same price?
You need to see the product. I've given you in 2.5 years a fully functional house. You can practically move in with your mattress. You don't have to do anything. We spent over 3 crore rupees only on 8 apartments in our bath fittings. We've used stone worth 7,000 rupees a square foot in the bathrooms. So people are paying me for fit and finish. I'll tell you where the thought process comes from. I had a friend 20 years back who bought an apartment in Khar from one of the big listed players. How much he bought the apartment for, he spent the same amount on his interiors. And it didn't make sense to me. I'm like, why would you buy an apartment and spend equal amount on interiors? Because everybody is convinced people that, boss, you cannot do. I think developers have convinced all buyers that they cannot do good interiors. The very fact is nobody wants to take the time, effort, or put the investment to do it. Everybody wants to put in 2,000 rupees a square foot construction and walk out with maximum profit.
Okay. So basically the interiors cost that.
I mean, if they could, they would not even put windows. You need to do that as OC compliance.
But then isn't like the definition of a luxury home buyer such that they want things bare shell. Tu mat bana, I'll do it myself.
Vishal, every project with the word luxury is everything above the poverty line. Everybody is the most abused word in our business because every project from Bandra to Dahisar to wherever in the world is sold as luxury. What is luxury? By adding luxury, everybody just wants to take a few thousand rupees extra from you.
But like, okay, true luxury, if I can call it that.
There's either a good building or a bad building or an average building. There's no such thing as a luxury building per se.
Okay. Let's just, for a good building which attracts these big transactions by high profile buyers, one common trait I see is that they have two things, right? They give you good amenities, but they give you bare shell. The guy can do interiors the way exactly he wants.
Yeah, because everybody has convinced the person that they will make such trash that you have to gut it out eventually. So why do it anyways? I think every developer has convinced the buyer about that. So they say कि भाई आप छोड़ दो, हम खुद कर लेंगे.
Okay, so tell me.
I mean, when you go to a really good hotel, do you say my room should be XYZ or something? You don't. It's a good room. You don't complain about it.
Okay, sticking with Bandra, that's why you and your company have been there for
Over 25 years.
Over 25 years. How has Bandra as a market evolved? I remember just when I was younger, Bandra was a suburb, but South Bombay was prime.
Yeah, and you needed a passport to cross the sea link.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I mean to cross, parts of South Bombay.
Now, right now, that thing has dramatically changed.
So let's look at it today. Cuff Parade is cheaper than Bandra. And who could have thought, right? So every city is evolving and it's part of the evolution of the city.
Did you ever anticipate that Bandra prices could be what they are today?
I think it can even go higher.
What does that mean? Like right now, Mumbai is, the peak pricing is somewhere close to, I think, 1.5 lakh rupees per square
But
feet.
average Mumbai is between 40 and 50,000 rupees a square foot.
Okay.
So average buildings in Bandra at between 40-50,000 rupees a square foot. I mean, you get Chembur, you get Ghatkopar also is between 40-50,000 rupees a square foot. So what's the great deal?
Okay. So for 1.5 lakh rupees per square feet, do you think we can actually see a stage where rates can be 2 lakh per square feet also in Mumbai?
I won't be surprised if sea-facing properties will touch between 2.5 lakh rupees a square foot in the next 3 years.
Any particular locations for the sea facing that you're talking about? What sort of
Entire seafront. I mean, the way I look at it, you'll have company owners staying on the front row, which is like Worli Sea Face. You go to Annie Besant Road, you'll have the CEO level guys. You go one step below them, you'll have the VPs in Parel. And as you go to Sivri, you have the guys one step even below them. So it's a whole hierarchy what's happening. If you break it down the way I'm seeing it evolve.
Okay, so basically the wealthiest at the seafront and it keeps getting cheaper as you go behind.
Yes.
Okay, so in seafront, the prime locations where construction is happening or redevelopment is happening is Worli, Bandra, Versova, and Juhu and all around that belt.
So basically, the extremely rich of the city, according to me, in the next 5 to 10 years, once the entire coastal road is built, will live on the coastal road through the length of it.
Among these locations, which one do you think will be the most pricey between Worli, Bandra, Versova, Juhu, in your view, seafront?
I think all will kind of relatively equalize at some point, but I don't know when. Because it's all going to be about sea. If a person's work is in Andheri, he's going to prefer to live in Versova. If a person's work is in South Bombay or in BKC, he would prefer to choose between Bandra and Worli.
But the prices of all these seafront could be the same.
Yes.
Over a period.
So there is a lot of arbitrage across.
Okay. Sticking to Bandra, at this point is clearly the leader among the suburbs. But lots of action happening there, right?
Yes.
Lots of developers coming in, Bandra in a way has that appeal, right? It basically lures people to come to it.
I'll break it down for you, Vishal. Look, Bandra is a पीतल का लोटा. Every broker has convinced every developer that Bandra में sale होता है तो सबसे fast Bandra में होता है, which is a myth. I think as when the market slows down, people will find out. At some point, I think in 2016, it took us 2 years to sell 24 units. We were selling 1 unit a month after OC. So, it's not all, it's all not bells and whistles. Everybody thinks of it as, everybody from outside looks at it as Sone ka lota. We know it's Pital. So, anything can happen anytime.
Builders should be careful when जब वो Bandra enter करते हैं basically.
I think everybody should be careful in whichever market they work, The problem is, everybody is a micro market specialist, right? To a great extent. Good boutique guys like us, right? You can't, everybody understands their locations, but the minute you go out, you're reliant on too much research. And not everybody goes super deep into that research and underwriting. So they hear hearsay from everybody and collate it and kind of make their own judgments.
तो फिर अभी का situation क्या है कि you of course said people have to be careful, but I don't think any market at this point, मुंबई में अगर वो lure जो है वो सिर्फ Bandra का है at this point.
No, I think it's across. I think there's a lot of action happening in Worli. I still love Lower Parel. I think Versova is also a great market. So it really depends on what you want to do.
But Bandra का वो vibe है ना, और
Bandra is all vibe.
Bandra is all. I agree with you.
Bandra is all vibe.
So because of that, it attracts people.
No, but look, over and above vibe, it also has good schooling infrastructure in the vicinity. BKC is close by. The airport is close by. Your coastal roads are close by. You have a lot of good restaurants. All the happening, buzzing restaurants and coffee shops are in Bandra. So it's like the Soho West Village of, India. So everybody who's cool and wants to be cool, all the artists, the musicians, comedians, everybody wants to be in Bandra.
Okay.
I mean, it's an upgrade from Lokhandwala. If you're struggling, you're in Lokhandwala. If you're established, you're in Bandra.
Okay, well put. Just when I was coming over here and I was talking to somebody that you'll be coming on the podcast, one of your peer developers told me, okay, he's somewhat like Aamir Khan. एक building बनाता है फिर 5 साल के लिए सो जाता है.
No, we're pretty consistent. If you see my history, we've done a building every 2 years because we choose to work with our own money. We don't borrow.
What's the philosophy there? Why not borrow and expand faster?
I think most never say never, but I think most of the developers are busy adding to all the banks, so I'd rather just buy the bank stock and sit down.
Explain that, developers.
I'll tell you one thing, look Vishal, you're borrowing at 15% quarterly compounded. Real estate as a sector makes only 18 to 21 if you take a 10-year horizon. You have a few outlier years where you can do much better. If the government gets generous, we all got a premium benefit. It was great. It worked for everybody, But you don't get lucky every time. Otherwise, on an average, the business makes only between 18 and 21%, which leaves a lot of small room for error. So I don't want to deal with the stress. I think there's enough things to deal with contractors and everything else in the business than to deal with finance.
Do you think most of the developers work more for the lender than for themselves?
Of course. Just buy all the bank stocks. You'll do very well. That's what we've done.
Okay.
And you have all the Indian developers working for all the banks.
Explain
I think
that.
Banking stocks will do very well.
Explain that. What does that mean?
Everybody's taking heavy construction finance and doing business. How many people are really putting in their own money?
Would you say that's the wrong approach to the business?
No, it works differently for different people. We're not too super comfortable with it.
You won't do a project wherein you will need funding at say 16, 17, 18% cost.
No, I'm not in a rat race, Vishal. I want to make good buildings. That's what I want to do, and I enjoy making good buildings. It's passion over this thing. Look, money is important, but it's fuel for the car. It's not the end goal for us.
So basically,
by earning more, having better margins, you can hire better contractors, you can use better materials, you can build something even nicer, you can hire more professionals, you can hire better architects, better engineers, better designers, better everything, right? You can pay your entire chain very well. But as I said, it's fuel for the car. It's not the end goal. Money is important. Money will get made, but it's not the end goal. The end goal is to make really good buildings because somebody is going to spend 25 to 50 years of their life in them. So you have to put in the time and you have to put in the effort.
What would you say to many builders who say that, it's good to focus on product, but the problem is that most Indian buyers do not reward a good product. They're not willing to pay that extra premium to a guy who puts in that effort and that skill in doing construction. That's the view of many of your peers.
We are, I mean, honestly, everybody can speak for themselves. We are very happy. Our buyers pay us very well. They pay us way above market. It's like going to a really good architect to do your house, right? You go to a professional, you listen to him on what stone to pick, on which wallpaper to choose, on which bath fitting to use, with what type of lights to use in the ceiling, and you pay him a fees for that. That is exactly what I'm taking from my buyers. I'm taking that over and above extra. Just to give you an example, recently a buyer bought a house in Rendezvous. He had 16 architects who came in and saw it, and 4 of them were really close friends. They told him, look, the house is perfect. Just furnish it well. Everybody else, the rest of the 12 said, sir, ye diwar todo, ye karo, ye change karo, wo change karo, only so that they could make their billing. Like, nothing against any architect, but if a job is well done, nobody wants to break it. So the guy actually fired everybody and said, boss, he went, chose an architect, paid them a fee to help him furnish his house. There's nothing wrong.
Okay. So, tell me one thing. You've spoken many things about the product and how or basically how Satguru views development. Just when I introduced you at the start, I told you you're the most expensive developer that people have not heard of. Does branding, marketing not matter to you? Is that your thought process, or it matters?
No,
only
I just want to put all my effort into. We just want to put all our effort into making a good building. Into making a good landmark building. That's it.
So basically, I think most of real estate is dominated with sales and marketing, right? You see all the billboards, you see all the ads. It's all real estate, real estate, real estate. You're barring the one store that you own, an expensive store as well in Bandra Linking Road. There's nothing much in terms of branding or awareness of Satguru.
Vishal, I don't need that many buyers. Look, even today we are building 10, 12 units in a building, 15 units, 20 units. I need 20 people. I mean, even if I do 600, I need only 600. I don't need a few thousand people. So it really doesn't matter. So I'd rather give it my time. And they're rewarding me for putting that time and effort into the building.
Sharan, would you call yourself a brand, or would you call yourself sort of a product specialist? Because right now, real estate is in that stage where we keep talking, branded developers, unbranded. I think you are somewhere in between, right?
Vishal, let's break it down. What you're talking about is just because you recall a name or you see a lot of names on billboards, name recall is not brand recall. It takes a lot of time, and consistency and steady delivery to make yourself into a brand. So just because a person's put up, who's barely done 3 buildings has put up 50 hoardings, does not make them a brand.
Fair point. I think because one prominent trait I'm seeing is that wherever you look, real estate ads are there everywhere, right? From billboards to TV to newspapers to even Netflix shows.
You see Pune, every second billboard is only real estate.
And then I think probably Mumbai as well, right? You look at them.
One
third.
It depends, yeah.
But in your point of view, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a brand just because you're on a billboard.
No. Even if you spend crazy amounts of money on your social media marketing, it does not make you. It might get somebody to recall your name, but that does not mean you built a brand.
Is Satguru a brand according to you?
I don't want to be pompous, but we've been there around for a while, consistently delivering.
So how many buildings have you all done, and
15 buildings in 30 years, 0 stall projects, all delivered with OC.
Okay, so 15 buildings, 30 years, without any disgruntled buyers who haven't got their home, which in a market like Mumbai is probably there with 1 or 2% of the builders, right? Because everybody has some project jo atka pada hai.
Yeah, but look, even before RERA, we always had all our permissions in place before we started selling. We know we are going to complete the financing and get it built even if we don't sell a unit, and and we've just stuck to that. It's no rocket science. It's just consistency.
Tell me something. Why are so many projects stuck, or why do so many projects get stuck so quickly? 6 months ka downturn or atak jata hai. Why?
Look, because everybody is trying to underwrite sales to finance the development, right? This is, what everybody gets in with trading mindset. Real estate makes a lot of money, let's get into the business. Nobody says, boss, everybody wants to get into real estate only to make money. It's not to make a building, not to make their house, not to do any other thing. We actually stumbled onto real estate. So my dad enjoyed making our house first where we stayed. Then he enjoyed making our building where our office is currently with Hafiz. He had done that with Hafiz 25 years back, around 95. And he really enjoyed the process. And then, TDR had just opened up. So, there was an old building near Almeida Park called Jumbo, which was filled with Air India employees. And they gave us the rights to build on top of the old building. So we added 3 floors on top of 3 floors. And thankfully, even if you see it today, it does not look like a building built on top of an old building.
Okay.
And he really enjoyed the process and kind of, got into that. My aunt bought, my one bua bought 1 flat. My chacha bought 3 flats. Some other family friend bought a flat. And that's how kind of we started.
Okay, so basically you all are accidental developers.
You can say so. But we are there in it more for the love of it, not only, we do fairly well, but it's a byproduct of doing what we do.
As far as the first building, did that thing also sell at a premium, or that thing was at a discount because you were new?
No, we actually just wanted to build the building, and whatever we made. My dad did more to kind of get a start into it and kind of figure it out.
Jumbo, the name of the building,
Yeah,
right?
the name of the building. It came from the Jumbo Jet, because the old building where it was made, the Jumbo Jet was just introduced into the fleet of Air India.
Okay, so tell me one thing. You said you were pointing to the part कि people builder के पास ज़्यादा पैसा होता नहीं है, इसके लिए वो लोग enter करते हैं.
No, everybody gets into the business thinking it's highly profitable. Nobody knows it's like a minefield you have to navigate. Nobody looks at it. There's no barrier to entry, right? You don't need to be an MBA. You don't need to do anything. You just need to find a building who's willing to give you a contract to redevelop it. Today, anyway, there's a shortage of developers, I would say, of good developers in the market, because anybody and everybody is becoming a developer, and societies are so desperate. They're not checking, credentials or backgrounds of anybody, and they're giving everybody and anybody a chance to redevelop their buildings.
But then why do buildings get stuck then?
Multiple reasons, Vishal. Look, everybody has different reasons for it being stuck. But I think greed is most common,
Because
Greed is the root cause of it. Look, we're a developing nation, right? So, and it's not a super professional thing, and permissions are not super difficult. We don't have that much red tape. Everybody curses us in India saying we have red tape. We are actually a very development-friendly country, to be honest. Try getting a development off the ground in the US. The red tape is way higher, okay? So, I think we should all be very thankful. Everybody gives too much grief to everybody around, but we're actually very development-friendly.
Okay, you're actually the first developer who I've heard who says that red tapeism and bureaucracy in Mumbai is not too much. Otherwise, that's a common complaint of most developers. The reason why I struggle to complete a building on time, do it well, is because I have to spend too much energy in focusing on municipal regulations, compliances.
No, look, Vishal, the problem is everybody wants to do a 10-minute job in 2 minutes. The time it's going to take. Look at the number of files everybody has. Right? It's going to take some time to do it. You have to hang in. The problem is everybody wants to sell when the market is hot. Everybody's too scared of the market cooling down. Because everybody is reliant on sales to complete their buildings. So everybody wants to take advantage of the situation and kind of make sure that fatafat bech do, fatafat bech. That's not the attitude. Because look, you see a building cycle, right? It takes you a year to 2 years to get off the ground. And after that, you have 3 years of, between 2 and 5 years of development. You're going to put in a significant amount of your time and life into it. Make it count.
Okay.
Everybody wants everything fast. I think everybody wants instant gratification. That's the problem.
Okay. You pointed to the fact that there's a full redevelopment frenzy going on.
Yes.
हर दूसरा या तीसरा building redevelopment में जा रहा है. Whether you're in Bandra, Chembur,
Anywhere. And there's a logic to it, Vishal. Look, most of the buildings in the city were built between the 60s and the 70s, right? That means today they are 50 years old. 50 years means RCC का life खत्म हो गया है. तो बस पूरा बॉम्बे आने वाला है. So everybody should, I think, relax a little and not behave like land is going to get over in the city. There'll always be a buyer and there'll always be a seller.
तो सब लोग इतना excite क्यों हो रहे हैं?
I think everybody is seeing the prices. All the guys from out of the city, like from Bangalore and other cities, are coming here saying margins are so high, the numbers are so high. Yeah, you can do a 150, 200 crore project in like 20,000 square feet. You don't have to sell 2 lakh square feet or 2 million square feet for that. So that's what's really exciting them. But look, the risk is also higher, right?
Why?
Look, you have to be a specialist at what you do. It's like, I think transplanting a developer from another city over here is like getting a heart surgeon to do a tooth surgery. Everybody has different competencies. So I think development you see globally, right? You always have masters of a certain market. There's very few times you see guys who are successful across markets. I mean, look, let's dissect every market across the world, except for China, probably, where the rules are relatively the same across the country. You know, it's a communist regime. You can build what you want, where you want. The government auctions the land. It's because every city is different. Rules are different. Permits are different. Everything is different.
One of the pet thoughts that always comes to my mind whenever I see tall buildings, and there are too many of them in India, is that can India move to a stage wherein we just ban sale of under construction homes, sell only after it's completed?
I would be super happy for that, because that would only leave players with serious money and execution capabilities on the table. Everybody else will disappear overnight.
Will that be good for the market, bad for the market, good for the buyer, bad
It
for the
will
buyer?
be temporarily very painful, but in the long term, very good.
Okay, explain that. What does that mean?
Let's take an example of DLF stock price. Everybody gave them grief for saying, boss, that they banned under construction. They said, we will sell only on completion. And the minute they are complete and they started sales, they were sold out in no time, in a matter of days or hours. So I think that answers your question.
Okay, what would you say to the point of view of many people, of many developers? Just want to argue with them on this. They say, Vishal, this suggestion of yours of banning sale of under construction homes will only make homes more expensive for the common man. Don't advise this.
No, why would it make it more expensive? The minute the business is institutionalized and the risk goes away, even the cost of borrowing will go down, right? Today, why is construction finance the most expensive? If you're in industry, you get money at 7, 8, 9%. But to real estate, it's all at 15%. So the minute it's institutionalized and the risk goes away, it's only risk, right? What are you paying the bank a premium for? You're paying them premium for the risk. So the minute the risk goes away, even the borrowing cost will fall down, right? So net, it's a no.
So basically you're saying thus a stronger, healthier market will ensure that top guys will be there and their cost of executing a project will be substantially lesser.
Of course. I mean, there are so many foreign contractors who want to come into India who are looking for scale. But our projects here are just in Bombay do not have that scale. Everybody wants to do a project above 5 lakh square feet, above 1 million square feet. But how many land parcels and how much FSI can kind of bring you that scale? There are very few projects in the city.
So all in all, you're saying that you'll be okay.
I would be very happy if the government actually bans under construction sales.
And then home buyers should not be worried if that happens, that prices will go so high that they can't afford to buy a home.
There'll always be a buyer, Vishal. I mean, everybody will get a chance to buy.
So, Sharan, we are seeing a lot of these very expensive deals happen in Mumbai real estate. While affordable housing is, in a way, slightly sluggish, but super luxury is still hot for the select few projects. Lodha Malabar saw record deals. In your view, we are in 2024 today, 2030. Which will be Mumbai's most expensive location?
Worli and Bandra, sea face. Most expensive. It's the most well connected in the city. It's close to the old airport. It will be on the road to the new airport. It will be on the coastal road which can take you north. It can take you south. Also the proximity to good social infrastructure. It's all there in place.
So Worli and Bandra.
I'll give you another example, Vishal. There are a lot of people who are moving from Juhu to Worli, who are leaving their bungalows and actually going and staying in Worli for bigger houses, for better views, because the bungalow has become irrelevant now.
So basically, instead of staying isolated in a bungalow, you get into a more luxury community.
Everybody's talking about community, but basically it's very simple. Rich people want to live next to other rich people. You take the example of Fifth Avenue, New York, right? What was Fifth Avenue? Back in the day, Fifth Avenue overlooked Central Park, okay? And the seafront was for all workers and for everybody else and docks and trading. But the rich guy wanted to make a mansion next to a better, bigger mansion next to the other rich guy, saying, I have a bigger, better house than yours. That's exactly what's going to happen here.
So instead of staying next to each other, you're going to stay above and below each other.
No, you're going to stay next to each other, but one building is going to be better than the next. So the one which is better than the next is going to get a higher premium.
Okay, so basically you're saying 2030, Worli, Bandra rule. The dominance of South Bombay, that is in a way on its last legs, according to you.
100%. I mean, back in the day, if you were poor, you moved to Bandra, or if you wanted to downgrade. Now it's become the other way around. If you want to downgrade, you kind of move to Pedder Road.
So,
I mean,
once
think about it.
Once upon a time, Pedder Road was the place I stayed. So and that time Pedder Road was Pedder Road.
It was Pedder Road. I mean, we all came to Amar San's and right place to eat that big sandwich and everything. But today, all of you all come to Bandra to eat and drink.
What's the future of Malabar Hill? Malabar Hill is like super prime. Okay.
It'll be there for a select audience, not for everybody.
Would you say that Worli Seaface and Bandstand and Carter Road will outdo even the king of real estate, Malabar Hill?
Of course. No questions. It's done. You're still living in South Bombay. You're a proper South Bombay guy talking, Vishal.
No,
You can't digest that the suburbs are doing better.
No, I can totally digest it. I can totally digest it. But then even among South Bombay, which has been struggling for a while, Malabar Hill always had that aura.
It's only about aura. Today you have more locations at the same price. You will choose what you prefer. There's no snob value anymore to Malabar Hill.
Just like how I say Bandra has only vibe, you're saying Malabar Hill has only aura.
Had only aura. There was nothing else. What do you overlook? Only few buildings really have the best views.
Did you just say Malabar Hill had only aura, or you say Malabar Hill has only aura?
It had only aura, right? And some good views.
Abhi aura bhi nahi, according to you.
There were really good buildings like Il Palazzo which got built and they developed and out. Where's the grand new development over there? Which is the grand building in Malabar Hill? Where's the grand plot to make a building in Malabar Hill? Very few.
Lodha Malabar is one.
That's why it got the premium.
Okay, so all in all, you're saying South Bombay is, in a way, its time as the king is over.
No, it will make a resurgence, but you'll see other areas in South Bombay do well.
Like which?
I think Parel is always rocking. Lower Parel is always a good idea. It is so well connected. And also what nobody is realizing is the metro is going to be the game changer in the city, especially in terms of how we commute. That is really going to change, I think, real estate values across the city.
What are the top 3 locations to watch out for in Mumbai going forward, appreciation wise? कहाँ पे सबसे अच्छा investment return मिलेगा, अगर if I ask you?
Look, Vishal, you want to invest in stocks. You want to live, you buy real estate. This whole concept of buying real estate as an investment is trash.
मतलब खरीदना है तो stock खरीदो, घर मत खरीदो.
Don't.
Okay, so basically, in your view, real estate prices will probably go nowhere for the next maybe 10 years type.
No, I don't think it'll move crazy for the next 3 to 4 years. I think it's relatively, steady. You'll see a steadiness or a plateau in the market. You won't see a spike as such.
Okay, but will we see big variances within the same location? Will we see,
of course,
50,000 and 30,000 coexisting next to each other?
Yes, I mean, look, already between us, right? I mean, you see a building worth 1 lakh rupee and a building at 60,000 rupees right next to each other. And that's the market.
So, why is that 60,000 there? Why is somebody giving you like a steal deal? Okay, let me, one of the brokers gave me an extremely good analogy. He says, just the way to look at Bandra is that you should show Satguru's building, show the pricing, and after that show the building next door. Then suddenly the buyer feels, oh, this is a good deal.
That's
to buy.
That's a bait and switch.
Okay.
That's a bait and switch.
So bait is the high price, and then make him switch to the cheaper offering.
Oh, obviously.
Okay. So then that's a steal deal.
Look, in Bombay, boss, in real estate, there's no such thing as a steal deal. If you get a steal deal, it means you're getting stolen. It's very simple. कोई लाख रुपए का चीज 60,000 में नहीं बेचता है. मतलब बेचता है तो बॉस वो इंटरेस्ट काउंटर फैक्टर करके आपको डिस्काउंट करके ही मिला है हाथ में. कुछ सस्ता नहीं मिलता है ये शहर में.
Okay. Sharan, one of the things I notice about that as far as your buildings, they keep coming to my notice is on Instagram, because whenever I see Saif Ali Khan and Kareena Kapoor come out of their buildings, your name is hanging out on the side. You have sold to quite a few Bollywood celebrities and cricket guys. Are they easy customers?
They're just like any other customer, Vishal.
What does that actually mean? Like when there's
they're just like any other customer. Everybody wants a better price. That's it.
So do they negotiate hard?
Everybody tries to negotiate hard.
Does their time taken to finalize apartment vary according to somebody else?
That varies buyer to buyer, and everybody's requirements are the same. Everybody just wants a good house to live in.
Do you notice that Bollywood celebrities and cricket guys look for one very peculiar factor that other buildings don't have. They want privacy. Do you think that's a big factor they ask you?
Not them, but I would say everybody prefers lower density buildings with lesser neighbors. It's a fad across the city.
For many people, I noticed that they don't mind high density because they believe I want community. I don't want privacy. For the non-celebrities.
Look, I mean, Vishal, the higher up you go, everybody wants the lesser neighbors, the better. In the income demographic, so.
So all these guys, when it's like one of the few questions they come and ask you is that how many apartments will get built, and based on that they choose a building. The simple question I'm trying to ask is, does a Bollywood celebrity look at it that this building will have 20 apartments and this will have 15, so the 15 guy is a lot more preferred?
No, I think everybody has individual requirements. So if it meets the requirements, it works.
Okay. So how important is this Bollywood client base for you? Is it like 10% of your market? You're in Bandra, which is like the hub for the successful Bollywood actors, or
no, they're just like any other buyer, Vishal. They're just like any other buyer. There's no difference.
But gentry-wise, would they be like 15-20% of your customer base, or
no? I mean, there are a few celebrities who bought, but that's it.
But then basically you're saying they buy exactly the same way as, say, a Vishal would buy exactly the same way.
Same. No difference.
They will also negotiate the way I negotiate, you think?
I mean, that varies person to person.
Does Sharan like the process of negotiation, or are you one of those guys who prefers fixed price, take it or leave it?
The problem is everybody feels that, a developer has to negotiate on price. नहीं किया तो मान नहीं रखा, मेरा इज्जत का कचरा कर दिया. But boss, times have evolved. Do you go and negotiate when you buy a Range Rover or a watch? Do you? You don't get it, right? Today in a market, let's talk about for watches, right? You pay a premium for it. And there's a time you used to get a discount. So time की बात है. कभी negotiate करते, कभी नहीं.
But I think right now amongst the big names, I say that there's Oberoi who doesn't negotiate. That works and doesn't work in different ways, right? Because then the buyer who walks in, he doesn't spend time on negotiation.
It's his product. So it's his discretion. Why should he give you a discount? For what? What special are you doing for him? I mean, you tell me, why does a buyer deserve a discount? Can you justify it? कि मेरा मान नहीं रखा just for sentiment reason or just to please your ego?
I think most of the time discount, at least at the luxury end, is
it's
for
not
ego.
Luxury, it's for everybody. Ego. It's only about ego. I mean, but if you're putting in 3 years of your life in making something and you have only limited numbers of it, why don't people pay you as a professional and pay you your fees for it? Do you negotiate with your doctor when you pay him fees? Do you negotiate with your lawyer? I don't know too many people who negotiate with a doctor. If you have to get a heart surgery, you pay him his price. So why do you have to negotiate with a developer?
So Satguru negotiates with buyers?
You need to come as a buyer for that.
Well, I think given the sort of ticket sizes you have, I don't think I'm coming soon. Okay, Sharan, last couple of questions. Bandra, Khar, Santa Cruz. What's the future looking like? Inventory-wise, it's I think the worst impacted at this point. Lot of supply, absorption is tough.
Look, Vishal, everybody who's building a commoditized product is going to get rogered, right? Because today you buy in Andheri, you buy in Ghatkopar, you buy in Bandra, it's just going to be a person from another area who's going to upgrade in terms of address and come here. But the developer won't really make that much money if they're not covered well.
2 years back, just when you featured in one of my shows, you forecasted, and I think it's beginning to play out now, that in many of the markets, we should be bracing for a price war amongst commoditized products.
Of course. There is going to be a price war because where you had 5 buildings come a year, today you have 50 buildings coming in a year. Obviously, it's going to make a difference, Vishal.
So what does that mean for prices?
Look, once all buildings are completed, everything will sell out. It's just a matter of time before it sells out. And how much can you hold on to it?
Before completion, what happens?
It's going to be a struggle to cross the finish line because you need a lot of money to complete buildings. So if the developer is not well financed enough, it is going to be tough.
So what sort of price cuts can we see for these commoditized products in your view?
15-20%.
So that's not substantial, I'll put it that way, right? Because right now I think with the way people are launching a product, they're launching with these very high hopes. 50 का market rate है, मैं 70 पे launch करता हूँ. So 70 का मैं launch करके if I come down to whatever 55,000, it's still
Look, Vishal, when the market is good, everything sells. When the market is bad, nothing sells. then everybody will give you excuse कि sir श्राद्ध का season है, दिवाली जाने दो, Christmas में pick up होगा, फिर budget आ रहा है. I've heard these stories for one whole. I mean, you'll hear it continuously. Everybody give you excuses. So when nothing sells, nothing sells. When it sells, everything sells.
So yeah, but then your view, 15 to 20% should be the sort of price cut we can see in
Of course, it could be more also. It all depends on the liquidity and holding capacity and completion of the projects. It's a combination of a lot of moving parts.
Do you expect a lot of stalled projects?
Look, I don't know everybody's financing, so I won't be able to comment on that. It purely depends on financial closure.
Okay.
There's no other reason to not complete a building. There's no other reason. I mean, you tell me, if you have all permissions in place, you have RERA on your head, why won't you complete a building? That it's like, you know, the problem is everybody in our industry is hopeful कि चालू करो बिक जाएगा रास्ते पे. You know, everybody gives you that hope, right? कि चालू करो सर बिक जाएगा, कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, थोड़ा भाव में ऊपर नीचे कर देंगे. That's the general attitude, right? But you can't go with that attitude.
Because I think one of the things I'm noticing very clearly now is that brokers and builders tell me that the time to close a deal has just gone totally out of control. What earlier used to take 3 months is now going 6 months, 8 months, 9 months. It's a long cycle.
It depends from buyer to buyer, Vishal. Look, sometimes a lot of buyers also want to sell their current house and move into the other one and don't have the money to kind of, you know, make the payment before they sell the other house. Their expectation was too high. Or, I mean, they're just plain not interested because a rich person a lot of people already have houses. And everybody is doing an upgrade. When you're doing an upgrade, you're already comfortable. There's no reason for you to buy a bigger house unless you really want to live in that building. And when you see the building and if it's average, you're like, I'm better off where I am. So why do you buy a new house?
I think most of the developers' concern is that the time taken by a buyer is too much because he has too many options to see.
Exactly, as I said, Vishal, right? You've gone from 5 buildings to 50 buildings. And everybody is going to buy only in 2 buildings, but they'll see 48. And then they'll come to the 2 guys saying, Mr. 47 was at X price, Mr. 45 was at X price, Mr. 1 was at this. Why don't you give me in this price? And they're constantly trying to get everybody into a price war, though they're going to buy only those 2 buildings.
Okay, you know, one thing about your buildings, at least your last building, okay, is that it's pink, okay. Now, I basically must concede. Just when I first saw it, I didn't like it at all, okay. Of course, that time, those were just the initial impressions. It was not fully done. What's the thought in doing a pink color building?
Even after a pink color building, I'm still the most expensive building on the entire street with 20 other projects coming up. So we're doing something right? People like the pink. I mean, just the other day, I had a buyer who came to see one last unit left. And she's like, you know, I just absolutely love the pink. So it really depends on perspective. You go to Stockholm, like 15 to 20% of the buildings in that city are pink. And it looks elegant, and it looks nice. So why not in Bombay? I think everybody just really got used to seeing grey, white, beige, and just looking at mundane stuff.
Okay. Tell me, regarding this pink, just when you thought about it and you discussed internally, I really have a feeling everybody in your company wouldn't have been on board on such a disruptive color. Okay. I think around that entire street.
Vishal, we are not trying to be different for the sake of being different. The building and the form and the shape of the building pulls it off, right? If it was not in Bandra, it wasn't on this certain location where there's so much green to offset the pink and the sky, we probably wouldn't have done it. So it's very contextual. It's like art, right? I mean, what a painting might be beautiful to one person might be pathetic to another. So, I mean, honestly, don't be so judgmental. Though a lot of people message me that why you're painting it pink, but I really don't give 2 hoots.
Okay, fair point. I think,
I'm putting my money, my effort, and my time in building it. So I'm not going to get dictated by anybody else.
Okay, fair point.
And people appreciate it. We get extreme reviews. In fact, one of the tenants who's renting in the building is from the US, and she actually reached out saying, you know, we absolutely love the building color, we love the fit out quality, and it feels like an apartment out in New York. You know, I can show you the Instagram DM I got, and things like that make me happy. You know, that means it's a job well done. It's not everybody who appreciates it, but a few people who do, that's who matter.
No, I think I'm fairly certain that maybe 8-10 years down the line, that building, it'll get defined by that color, and it'll be known in Bandra because, you know, which building, that pink color building. So it'll certainly stand out. On that thing, I don't have a doubt. Okay.
But look, Vishal, honestly, a lot of my A lot of brokers, a lot of other well-wishers, a lot of friends said, everybody's making fun of your pink building. But I'm like, I'm the one with the last laugh because I got the highest price. So how does it matter?
Fair point. Market is supreme in that way.
Exactly.
Okay. Last question. It's a flavor of a lot of developers looking to list on the exchange. Anybody and everybody is trying to get in. Some from your space. We saw Suraj Estates, relatively smaller name, getting who operates in the Dadar belt, get listed. We saw earlier Rustamji, which also does redevelopment, get listed. Something like that on the horizon for you, or basically because of your way of doing the Aamir Khan strategy, ek project 3-4 saal mein, that's not for you?
No, look, Vishal, I'll say never. I said I'll never go for a master's program and I ended up doing a master's program. So honestly, we don't know where life takes us, so I'll never say never.
So, but IPO is something you're thinking about to do?
At some point, why not? It'll just help us get more fuel for a bigger car. As I said, right, the more money you can do, better work.
Why not then do it soon? That market is hot. All your friends and competitors are going for it. What's stopping you?
We'll think about it. I've not had the time to think about it.
Okay, Sharan, you've been, I think, living in Bandra throughout your life, right? And also developing in Bandra only. ये Bandra के बाहर, will Sharan ever look to get out of Bandra? या Bandra is his janam and karma bhumi?
No, we are happy to go wherever we can get above a lakh rupees a square foot in terms of price.
So 1 lakh per square feet will be your requirement?
Yes.
So only locations where 1 lakh per square feet is...
Where we can draw a lakh rupees a square foot.
Okay, so basically location can be lesser, but you have the ability to get 1 lakh per square feet.
Yes.
What would be those sort of locations which you think are those where the market today is at 60,000 type, but your development can push it to 1 lakh?
I think Prabhadevi is one location. Of course, there are certain lanes in Bandra. There are certain locations in Bandra which can command above a lakh rupees a square foot. Mahim, I think, is very underrated, which can, also get a very good premium. Again, pockets of South Bombay. I think Lower Parel could get a lakh rupees a square foot with the right building. I mean, it's a 50,000-60,000 rupee commoditized market today. But if there's really a stellar product, a lakh of rupees will be a breeze to sell it at.
Okay. Well, I think Lower Parel, you have these flashy buildings, but yeah, like you said, it's
but
a commoditized.
There's a super luxury building, right, Vishal? Which is the building where you walk into the gate to the lobby and you're like, boss, I want to stay here. Like, I'll give you an example. One of our friends gave us a tour of Camellias. I had not even seen the flat. I was like, bhai, idhar lene ka hai. Right? Which building in Bombay gives you that feeling?
That wow feeling, basically.
I think they've really put in some serious effort and made a great product. I mean, I've not seen the flat. I've only got to the clubhouse. I'm like, I don't think I want to see the flat. Yeah. It's an achievement.
Yeah, I think DLF Camellia is the ultimate symbol of how,
no sea view and still above a lakh of rupees a square foot, right? So why should Bombay Sea Face get capped at 1.5 lakh rupees? You still have the water and the ocean. So it has definitely a lot more room to grow.
Okay, Sharan, one of the ways that's creating a lot of interest in real estate sales and marketing are influencers. Okay, and of course IPCs are there, but they're for a different segment.
I'll tell you a joke on that. Unfortunately, in my being over 15 years in real estate, I've never dealt with one IPC has never closed my deal. Not one. Everybody's shown, they've tried. I'm not going to take that away from them, but they've never ended up doing a transaction with me.
Why do you think that's the case?
I don't know.
I think
it's Bandra. I think very few people are successful in crossing over the sea link. I mean, we predominantly sell. I have one sales guy who's like a younger brother to me, and we sell predominantly word of mouth and through our strong network of brokers.
So you just have one salesperson.
That's it.
How much inventory worth would you be selling on an average per year? Since I basically said you actually do one project, you sleep for some time.
Close to 100 crores. One sales guy. He's been with me for a decade. He's like a younger brother.
While IPCs haven't worked for you, would you work with these prominent influencers? There are like 3 or 4 in Mumbai at this point of time. One of them was in fact on my show a few weeks back, Rafiq Merchant.
Of course. I mean, if they work within our restrictions, because we don't really advertise our property or put it out on any social media, I'd be happy to deal with them. In fact, on that note, I'll tell you a funny story. We got one of our plots. We did a building called Satguru Builders quite a long while back. And that deal with the landlord was done by my mechanic, Jabbar Bhai. So, I mean, our doors are open to everybody. You'll be surprised that some of the guys who you've not heard of, and normal guys who used to be assistant at brokers, today they do transactions worth 50 crore rupees, 40 crore rupees, and 10 lakh rupee worth of rentals. So there's a lot of place for everybody, Vishal. I mean, I don't think we should look at anybody's background. We should see what they bring on the table today.
Would you say that the broker market is a very important source for you, or you can do without brokers also?
No, Vishal, I think it's a symbiotic relationship. We both need each other. So, I mean, it's mutually beneficial both ways.
Are the type of brokers who operate in your segment, and by your segment I mean 15 crores, 20 crores, 30 crores apartments, are the type of brokers who deal in your segment very different?
No,
Very different
Vishal,
skill
I
set?
mean, we've been seeing relatively the same 40, 50 guys in the last 15, 16 years since I've been looking at sales. So it's not changed that much. Yes, there are a lot more younger guys, newer guys, little more hungrier guys who come in, who are doing stuff with social media and all. But I mean, our parameters are very, very particular. We want to see a client profile. We work in a certain way, and if somebody adheres to that, we work with them.
What's the one difference between a broker who caters to your segment of buyers versus somebody who does it at mid-level? What's the one different trait that they need to have to be successful? This is a question I think many brokers who want to break into the segment but haven't yet done it. What's the one quality you think they should have?
Your broker is a very important guy. He's more like your curator. He's like an art curator. Let's take an example of an art curator. Today, you don't know which artist to buy. If we go to buy art, you and me, okay? We look at XYZ artist, and the only name probably we know is MF Hussain, right? Or a Raza, or a Souza. But everything around that and below that, how do you judge kisko kya price dena chahiye? The broker is very important in kind of guiding the client through that. And that's where the skill and experience kind of helps. And for all the guys who are trying to do no broker, boss, I think they're just trying to replace the broker.
Okay. But then, is there any one common trait you see that a mid-level broker, a broker who operates in the mid-level segment should do if he wants to break into the top elite segment?
I think honesty. What I see with a lot of the guys who work with us is they're very upfront and honest with the buyers in terms of setting their expectations on everything. And I think where people go wrong is they don't set expectations with the buyers. They say ki sab ho jayega. When the developer can't do everything. That is, I think, generally miscommunication is the only thing.
Common approach of the broker is, sir, aap table pe baitho, ye ho jayega. To the buyer, they say that. In the mass segment of...
No, I don't know about that. I'm just talking about the guys we deal with have been very honest and very hardworking. And they've been very supportive, and we are very grateful to work with them.
Okay. On that note, Sharan, we'll end this major segment. I have a small segment as part of the show, which is my rapid fire. It's my favorite round. A list of 10 questions, which you have to, of course, answer freely and candidly. What's the first word that comes to your mind when I say builder?
There are too many. A lot of people can fill it in with their imaginations.
What's the first word that comes to your mind when I say Lodha?
Tall buildings.
Godrej.
Big land bank.
Oberoi.
Goregaon.
Raheja.
Which one?
Hirannani.
Greco-Roman columns.
Rustamji.
Grey and white buildings.
What's the first word that comes to your mind when I say luxury?
Everything above the poverty line.
Branded and unbranded builders. The one big difference.
Track record.
What's the one location where Sharan would like to buy a home in?
Bandra.
Sharan, my last question. What's the best building in Mumbai according to you? Outside of the Satguru stable.
I think Buckley Court near Taj in Colaba.
Okay. On that note, Sharan, thank you for coming on The Real Deal and good luck for the future.
Thanks, Vishal.